Another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Karen, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from let me see what date this is. Wait 1 second. Okay, I'm reading from the April 2nd, 2026 issue of the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. A couple short things we have here. There was an annual egg hunt. The Town of Recreation Department and the East Aurora Kiwanis Club sponsored the annual Easter egg hunt at J.P. Nicely Park in West Falls last Saturday. East Aurora High School Key Club members also volunteered at the event. Prize winners for finding the special eggs were Margot Lowe, Fiona Patrine, Maeve Seidler, Remy Pizonka, Nora DiRenzo, Maddox Schultz, Eloise DiRenzo, and Ridge Seidler. And also, there was a pageant winner. East Aurora resident Emily Sinati wins the crown in Las Vegas, Nevada as United States of America Mrs. last weekend. She became USOA Mrs. New York last fall, which qualified her to enter the event. Okay, now our first article is titled Board Wants Campground Answers. East Aurora officials to wait for recommendation. Questions remain about a proposal to construct tree houses, cottages, and a lodge on campgrounds at the Twin Elms Estate in the town of Aurora. The town board discussed the matter with the developer and her attorney in a work session the night of Tuesday, March 17th. Rachel Krajewski, who owns Carner Development, wants to build on land she owns at 1196 Big Tree Road, which is also listed as 1196 East Main Street. She plans to charge customers to camp there and keep the property in use instead of letting it become vacant. Board members desire more feedback from the planning board, which voted 3-2 to recommend the proposal with 2 members absent. 4 votes are necessary for a 7-member board to endorse a plan. Officials desire clarification on whether the property, which is zoned for agricultural use, should be rezoned. After Councilman Joseph McCann asked what the existing structure on the land should be called, he received an unclear answer. I call it a structure we are investigating, said Elizabeth Cassidy, Code Enforcement Officer. Cassidy told him Bridget Maloney, town attorney, has been examining the laws to see how the property should be classified. In addition to uncertainty about zoning, Peter Sorge, Carner Development's attorney, raised questions about the planning board's interpretation of how the property should be used. He emphasized the pair of planning board members who opposed the plan should not have let their interpretation affect their decisions. Sorge believes the code enforcement officer should interpret, not the planning board. They went beyond the scope of it, he said. The attorney also stressed the town board members should avoid interpreting land use. McCann reminded him the board must explore the issue. Our job is to do our due diligence, he said. Sorge disagreed. That's a pretty broad statement, said the attorney, a partner in Hopkins, Sorge, and McCarthy on Main Street in East Aurora. Another board member explained the advisory board's role. The Zoning Board of Appeals and Planning Board provide to us their assessment in an advisory capacity, said Councilman Luke Wojcicki. Sorge insisted they should not interpret. They have to follow code, he said. Town board members agreed to await the entire planning board's recommendation before revisiting the issue. "We like to hear from our planning board," McCann said afterwards. "It's an important part of the process." Supervisor Charles Snyder agreed that more individuals should review the proposal. "That's a critical part of it," he said. Next, we have East Aurora considers options for remaining capital project funds. As the 2022 capital improvement project for the East Aurora Union Free School District nears completion, the district has options as to how they would like to spend their excess funds. Steve Chirowski, AIA from Young and Wright Architectural, was at the March 18th school board meeting to give a project update and provide a list of options for the additional projects. Construction continues to take place in the library of the middle school on Main Street. Chirowski said that a number of the original walls in the library were crooked, requiring contractors to rip some of the plaster up and reframe those walls. The cost of these repairs totaled approximately $24,000. The good news is the contingency on the capital project is covering that, Chirowski said. There is still approximately $225,000 left in this line. Several items had been cut from the project due to larger than expected bids received for renovations at the middle school. Those included refinishing the floor in the middle school gym, as well as renovations to the front offices, superintendent's office, and conference room. These projects had been approved by the State Education Department when the project was originally submitted. Contractors have already created an office for the assistant superintendent, which cost $31,000. They also were able to order new window shades for all the district office windows for $13,000. Currently, there is $281,000 left over in the project, independent from the contingency funds. Chirowski said that the contractors were looking at how to spend those additional funds. Options for additional projects that could be completed include renovations to the hallways outside of the middle school office down the hallway past the district office. This would include all new floors, ceilings, lights, and paint. This would finish the entirety of the first floor. The rest of the first floor of this building is getting renovated in the project, Chirowski said. This area, as if it was not a student-facing area, was put on the alternate list. The cost for this renovation is approximately $200,000. We believe it makes the most sense to proceed with the corridor renovations. It's a big-ticket item, Chirowski said, but it finishes something that has been the goal of the project from the beginning. A new glass door would be installed outside of the district office wing for an additional $12,000. Chirowski said he also recommended the district use $38,000 to purchase new window shades for the rest of the front of the building, some of which he said had fallen during the construction period. Chirowski also proposed the district spend $28,000 on camera system upgrades for the building. Any remaining balance of the $281,000 that isn't spent on these projects would then be put in the contingency fund. Chirowski said that he expects some of the contingency funds to be used, but that if there is a remaining balance, the district could proceed to use some of the funds for additional projects. We don't want to let the job linger for too long. We have to hit a financial closeout date, Chirowski said, but it would be too early, in our opinion, to spend our entire contingency down. The recommendations do not include renovations to the superintendent's office and conference room. Jarowski said that because those rooms are closed off, those projects could be considered if there is money left over, as he believes it would be easier to perform renovation work in the late summer and early fall without disruption to students. The district is only able to spend the funds it originally allocated for the project, nothing more. Additionally, work can only be performed at a building with an active construction number with the state education department, which Jarowski said is only the middle school at this point. The funds allocated for this project cannot be put in the general fund if there is any leftover money. The East Aurora Union Free School Board will meet again at 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 21st in the middle school cafeteria on Main Street. Next article is grading practices under review at East Aurora schools. The East Aurora Union Free School District is reviewing its grading policies across 5th through 12th grade. Director of Curriculum and Instruction Jessica Lyons gave a presentation to the school board at the March 18th meeting on the progress of the grading committee thus far. The district formed the grading committee in 2022, and it featured representatives from each grade level and department. Early goals focused on determining what the purpose of grades is, what grades should communicate about a student's learning, and how consistent grading practices are across classrooms. Preliminary, the group participated in professional learning, research, discussions of grading beliefs and practices. In October 2023, the district hosted Dr. Tom Guskey, a researcher on grading and assessment. He gave a keynote speech, and the district held small discussion groups. Lyons said the district has been using the grading committee to get feedback through department conversations and a grading inventory. The inventory included what factors go into grades, how different assignments are weighted, what counts towards a final grade, and how consistent practices are within departments. Another grading consultant was brought in last year, whose lecture focused on grading for accuracy and equity, as well as separating academic achievement from student behavior. The district received a grant from the East Aurora Education Foundation, which allowed Grading RX to perform a survey that was sent to teachers, students, families, and administrators. Lyons said the purpose of the survey was to discuss what stakeholders believe grades should communicate, how to interpret grades, and where there are inconsistencies. Different stakeholders have very different ideas about what grades mean and should communicate, Lyons said. In many places, achievement and behavior are blended together in ways that make a grade harder to interpret. It doesn't give you a clear picture of the traits of a child. Lyons said that the grading committee has drafted a grading philosophy. The philosophy states that the academic achievement grades reflect what a student knows and is able to do at a certain time, while students will receive separate feedback on their learning and work habits. This will not be included in their academic achievement grades. We definitely thought the habits of work are important, Lyons said. They're soft skills that students need to survive in the world. Lyons said that grades 5 and 6 grade differently than grades 7 through 12, and as a result, A separate committee has been formed for this group that is focusing on a deeper analysis of the grading survey as well as exploring habits of work. We would love to pilot a multi-grade report card for 5th and 6th grade starting in September, Lyons said. It's a lot of work between now and then. Lyons said there would be significant communication with families if they pursued this. The committee focused on grades 7 through 12 continues to engage in professional learning. We're basically doing the same things with teachers in grades 7 through 12, but at a much slower pace, Lyons said. Lyons said that it was more difficult at the high school because grade levels are mixed. Lyons also said that she was unsure of what transcripts for colleges would look like and what they would accept. Grading committee members continue to collect feedback from teachers in the 7th through 12th grade. We really do want them involved in the process, Lyons said. The East Aurora Union Free School Board will meet again at 7 p.m. Tuesday, April 21st in the middle school cafeteria on Main Street. And you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, next we have Unified Clubs from East Aurora and Iroquois join for a movie at the Aurora Theater. As they have for a couple of years now, the Unified Clubs of East Aurora and Iroquois gathered at the Aurora Theater on Main Street to watch a movie as the crowning event of Inclusion Week. This year, on March 26th, they watched Zootopia 2, a romp that carries the message of inclusion, of acceptance of those who are different, of the harm bullying can cause. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 100 high school, middle school, and elementary school students filled the theater with laughter and filled themselves with popcorn, candy, and pop. Before the movie, East Aurora High School Unified Advisor Tara Arnold and Iroquois Advisor Sean Lauber greeted the students with messages about the concepts that drive the Unified Clubs here and across the region. Unified Clubs are based on inclusion, as the name suggests, they said. Unified is a celebration of diversity and the belief that all school activities should be available to all students, that all students deserve to be treated with dignity. This is the 4th year we've had Inclusion Week in East Aurora, and it gets bigger and bigger every year. So I wanted to take a second to thank all of you for being involved in the Unified Club at the middle school, the high school, and now Parkdale, and our friends at Iroquois, who helped us with this as well. Give yourselves a round of applause for that, Arnold said. Inclusion is about the words we choose, the actions we take, and the respect we show others all day, every day. Inclusion includes disabilities, but is not exclusive to disability, but brings in all differences among people. Everyone wants to feel included or part of something beyond themselves. Let's make inclusivity a part of everything we do, everywhere we go. Unified is one of the biggest clubs at Iroquois, Lauber said. At Iroquois, we're up to 7 athletic activities for our Unified members: bocce, volleyball, cornhole, bowling, basketball, cheer, and flag football. At East Aurora High School, the Unified Club participates in basketball, bowling, the Polar Plunge, and the Inclusion Week, which acknowledges brings understanding to and celebrates several disabilities. At Parkdale Elementary, which sent a contingent of 20 or so to the movie, the Unified Club is starting to take off under the direction of advisors Haley Zagoda and Casey Oleski. The Middle School Unified Club, now is 40 strong, is developing its own activities. The movie event gave me an opportunity to speak with advisor Nina Theobald, a special education teacher on the Main Street campus. Theobald started the club at East Aurora Middle School in 2023 with faculty members Madison Weiner and Hannah Marion. We started with 20 to 30 students and are now up to between 30 and 40, now with some from all 4 grades. We do different activities throughout the year, like the trunk or treat that takes place around Halloween. We have a cookie decorating and hot chocolate party. We plan Inclusion Week at the middle school. You know this coffee cart that special education teacher Claire Kavanaugh does at the high school, where teachers order coffee and the kids prepare the coffee and wheel a cart to the individual classrooms. We started that at the middle school, and now some of the kids have gone up to the high school and carried it on. Theobald's students are beginning a new basketball program this spring. We had our first practice last week. It's a unified basketball skills showcase that through the Special Olympics. This is the first year for it, new from the Special Olympics. We're going to be one of the pilot schools to start it off. We won't play games, rather we'll teach skills like dribbling, shooting, passing. We'll work on those for the month of April. It will be the same makeup as the high school with athletes, students with disabilities, and partners, students without disabilities, comprising our team. Then on April 29th at the Kenton YMCA, we'll go to the Unified Basketball Skills Showcase with many of the middle schools in Western New York. Theobald takes special pleasure in seeing her Unified kids graduate from 8th grade and join Arnold's Unified kids at the high school. It was awesome to see Jackson Suckow MC the Unified Talent Show a couple of weeks ago in the high school auditorium. He was one of a group of middle school boys that really took Unified under their wing. You can tell he's still making an impact at the high school. Going forward, Theobald hopes to engage more with advisor Keith Marshall and his Iroquois Middle School Unified Club, even though the logistics with transportation and scheduling can make things tough. The field trip to the Aurora Theater buoyed their spirits. The crew that came with us were just so inclusive and embracing, very understanding and empathetic. I think that's incredible. So wonderful that we share between the 3 schools the things that are working. Now we can start at Parkdale and keep the kids involved all the way through their school years. Okay, next we have the Erie County Sheriff's Report. Traffic violations in town of Elma. Erie County Sheriff's deputies responded on March 23rd to a vehicle that was stopped on Jameson Road in Elma for a traffic violation. The registration was suspended for having no insurance. The driver was driving with a suspended driver's license and was arrested for aggravated unlicensed operation and suspended registration. They were released on traffic tickets and the vehicle was towed. In other area calls handled by the Erie County Sheriff's deputies out of the Clarence and Elma substation, March 19th, a larceny complaint was received from a local business on Bowen Road in Elma. The complainant declined to press charges. A vehicle struck a deer on Strikersville Road in Wales. No injuries were reported and the vehicle remained drivable. March 20th, the Iroquois SRO was assisted with a disorderly adult on the school property on Girl Road in Elma. The subject was advised to stay off the property. A vehicle hit a deer on Bullis Road in Marilla. No injuries were reported and the vehicle was towed from the scene. A computer scam was reported from Two Rod Road in Marilla, in which a virus protection scam appeared on the screen. The advertisement was asking for personal information and a money transfer. There was no financial loss. A vehicle drove off the roadway into a ditch on Ryder Road in Wales. No injuries were reported, and the vehicle was winched out by a tow service. March 21st, a disorderly person at a local business was reported on Pound Road in Elma. Upon arrival, all was calm and the subject left the area. March 22nd, the license plate was taken from a utility trailer sometime over the winter from a residence on Bullis Road in Elma. The license plate number was entered as stolen. March 23rd, a traffic light was reportedly not working due to a power outage on Olean Road in Holland. Traffic control was provided until the fire department responded with a generator. March 24th, a vehicle hit a tree on Holland Glenwood Road in Holland. The driver signed off with first aid on scene, and the vehicle was towed. March 25th, a suspicious package that was delivered to an address without a label was investigated on West Main Street in the village of Alden. The package owner determined everything was in order. An accident where a vehicle struck a pole occurred on Walden Avenue in the town of Alden. The driver signed off on EMS treatment, and the vehicle was towed from the scene. The driver was advised to contact their insurance company. Members of the Alden Fire Department responded to a report of carbon monoxide alarm going off at a resident on Three Rod Road in the town of Alden. It was determined that the detector was faulty and everything appeared in order. And you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Next, we have the Aurora Police Report. Patrol car strikes vehicle. A property damage accident occurred during an attempted traffic stop at 6 p.m. Sunday, March 15th. According to the report, a vehicle was observed traveling westbound on Main Street, passing several cars on the right over the fog lane. Responding patrol activated emergency lights and made a U-turn and attempted to pull over the vehicle. Upon completing the U-turn, the patrol car attempted to pass a 19-year-old female from East Aurora on the right side in order to catch up to the vehicle. The driver saw the emergency lights and began pulling over, causing the driver's passenger side front fender to strike the patrol vehicle's rear wheel while causing minor scratches. The driver's vehicle had dents and damage to its front passenger side fender and the wheel well. No injuries were sustained to either party, and both vehicles involved are operable. The registered owner of the driver's vehicle was notified and inspected on scene. An investigation was completed on scene. Grand larceny. An 87-year-old female from East Aurora reported to be the victim of a grand larceny at 9 a.m. Thursday, March 19th. According to the report, the victim stated that she had been at a rehabilitation facility from March 6th to 19th for various health issues. During that time, the victim stated that someone had reportedly taken $4,000 in cash from an office in her home. The victim reported where the cash was located and stated that she was certain that the cash was present when she left for the facility. When she returned home on March 19th, the cash was missing. The victim states that she has several home health aides that have the ability to enter her home and it could be possible that one of them is responsible for the missing cash. Several names of the aides were secured from a 79-year-old male relative from Port Orange, Florida. This is under investigation. Harassment. A verbal argument occurred outside a restaurant on Ernst Place at 8 p.m. Tuesday, March 24th. Upon arrival, both parties were separated. According to the report, a 40-year-old male from Holland, later identified as the subject, stated that a 34-year-old male from Holland, later identified as the victim, was giving him a ride home when they decided to stop at the restaurant for food. The subject stated that the argument started in the drive-thru of another business after his order was wrong. The victim reportedly parked in the parking lot so the subject could speak with management about the order. The victim became irritated and grabbed the subject's service dog, causing it to yelp. The subject then stated he exited the vehicle to call for help. The victim stated that the subject grabbed the keys of the ignition of the vehicle and began to punch him in the jaw before exiting the vehicle. The victim ran inside the restaurant to separate himself from the subject and call for help. The victim believes that when the subject grabbed the keys, he broke the key fob off, leaving the key portion inside the ignition. The victim also believes the subject did so intentionally to cause the vehicle not to start. The subject reportedly stated he did not touch the keys and had no idea where they went. The subject was also in possession of the victim's phone, but returned it to him, claiming he found it on the ground, thinking it was his. Surveillance footage was attempted to be collected at the restaurant, but there was no general manager on staff at the time, and the staff did not have access to the cameras. The business management stated they would review the footage in the following morning and provide it to the police. Staff confirmed the argument started in the drive-thru and continued into the parking lot. However, they could not determine what the argument was about. The victim wished to press harassment charges on the subject and provided a statement while on the scene. The subject was processed on location. The vehicle remained parked in the restaurant's parking lot. The restaurant was made aware of this and allowed the vehicle to be parked overnight. Both the victim and the subject were given courtesy rides to their prospective residences. They both refused medical treatment. The restaurant will be contacted regarding the surveillance footage. EMS transport. An EMS call of a male who had fallen with injury at the corner of Main and Center Streets was reported at 11:20 a.m. Thursday, March 26. According to the report, a 63-year-old male from East Aurora was located at the southwest corner of the intersection. He was seated on the ground, being treated for a small head laceration and abrasions to his knees and hands by personnel from the East Aurora Fire Department. The victim stated he was walking northbound on the sidewalk on Center Street from an appointment at a Center Street optometrist when he was turning the corner to walk westbound onto Main Street sidewalk, when he tripped over his own 2 feet and fell, causing the injuries. The victim was transported to a local hospital for his injuries by ambulance. Hit and run. A 33-year-old female from Alden reported a hit-and-run accident in a Gray Street parking lot at 8 p.m. Friday, March 27th. According to the report, the vehicle had damage to the driver's side, rear wheel well, and rear fender. There were broken reflective plastic pieces sitting on the ground and rear fender. The complainant stated that she believed the pieces belonged to the other vehicle involved. The complainant was interviewed and stated she entered the business at 7 p.m. and came out to her vehicle about 8 p.m. and observed the damage. Staff at the business showed footage from the only camera working outside, which did not show the accident or vehicle involved. Attended death. A 74-year-old female from East Aurora was reported to be unresponsive at 12 p.m. Sunday, March 29th. According to the report, the female was located lying in her bed. She was pronounced dead by a responding paramedic. The deceased doctor was contacted, who stated she would sign the death certificate. The information was relayed to the Erie County Medical Examiner's office, and the body was released. A funeral home arrived on scene and took possession. The deceased niece, who is the deceased power of attorney, arrived on scene and stated she would be handling the matter with the family. Harassment. A person harassing patrons at a gas station on Main Street was reported at 3 a.m. Monday, March 30th. According to the report, the 31-year-old male subject from East Aurora was located at the intersection of Main Street and Shearer Avenue. He was reportedly highly intoxicated. The 49-year-old male victim from Syracuse stated that he was attempting to find a business open to use its Wi-Fi connection in order to find a ride to the city mission when he was approached by the subject. The subject had a conversation with the victim, and during the course of it, the subject reportedly pulled on the victim's jacket hood, shoved him, and stated that he didn't want to go to the city mission. The victim was able to enter the gas station to report the incident to an employee, who then contacted police. An ambulance was called to the scene due to the subject being highly intoxicated. The victim stated he did not want to pursue charges, and the employee requested the subject not come back into the store for the night. Okay, next we have lunch at the Town of Aurora Senior Center, April 6th through 10th. Seniors take advantage of the lunch program offered by the county Monday through Friday at noon at the Town of Aurora Senior Center, 101 King Street at Oakwood Avenue. Meet new friends. All seniors are welcome. The lunch price is $3. To make or cancel a reservation, call 716-652-7934. Now Monday, cabbage roll with savory meat sauce, garlic mashed potatoes, mixed vegetables, dinner roll, chocolate cream pie. Tuesday, breaded chicken cutlet with buffalo-style sauce on a bun, tater tots, seasoned broccoli, fudge round. Wednesday, Polish sausage with sauerkraut and mustard on a bun, ranch mashed potatoes, carrots, fresh apple, chocolate milk. Thursday is roasted turkey with stuffing, gravy and cranberry sauce, mashed butternut squash, corn, chef salad with dressing, mandarin oranges. And Friday, omelet with Creole sauce, cheesy diced potatoes, green beans, wheat bread, tropical fruit. And there's also a lunch program at the Marilla Senior Lunch Program at the Marilla Community Center, April 6th through 10th, Mondays and Fridays, with a similar menu to the other one. Okay, next is Chamber Music Festival host fundraiser at Knox. The East Aurora Chamber Music Festival will host a special event at 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, April 28th at the Mansion at Knox Farm in East Aurora. This gala event will be a fundraising and musical evening. Musicians from the East Aurora Chamber Music Festival, whose formal season will be June 5th, 6th, 12th, and 14th, will introduce some works to be performed during this year's annual Chamber Music Festival. In addition, wine and hors d'oeuvres will be served. Tickets to this event are limited and the cost is $60. They can be purchased by writing to the P.O. Box 304, East Aurora, New York, 14052. And there's a history camp at Hull House. History camp for kids at the Hull Family Home and Farmstead in Lancaster will be held each day 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., July 20th through 24th. Camp is intended for students entering 5th through 8th grade, and campers engage in activities that teach what it would be like to live in 1820. Campers will do pioneer chores, learn about clothing and textiles of the early 19th century, be exposed to the culture of indigenous people, participate in an archaeological dig, work with wood and tools of the period, help prepare a meal together, and much more. The cost is $300 per camper. To register for more information, email sjacobs@Hull.Family.Home. Next is a historic reunion of a different stripe for Fiddler's 5 and 10. Fiddler's iconic awning will become the second most famous White Stripes in East Aurora as the famous rock duo, the White Stripes, reunites after 17 years for a rooftop concert atop the famous East Aurora retail establishment. The reunion concert will happen Monday, September 21st, the day after the conclusion of the Borderland Festival, held on the grounds of Knox Farm State Park, where Jack White, one half of the duo, is expected to headline this year's event. Reached at his third man record studio in Nashville, White was asked why he chose East Aurora for the reunion. After my agent booked me for Borderland, I got on Google's Street View, he said. I saw the Fiddler's awning with the white stripes, and I guess I had a light bulb moment. What the community really needs is the white stripes. It was a ridiculous idea, but he couldn't get it out of his mind. I sent Meg a screenshot of the store, he said, referring to drummer Meg White, the other half of the duo, and she sent a text right back. It was 2 exclamation points and the words rooftop concert. That sealed the deal. Because the rockers won't quite be acclimated to this time zone, to begin at 6 a.m. and last until 7:30 a.m., so as not to disrupt traffic on a weekday, Rookies has applied for a permit to stay open all night. Fiddler on the Roof will wear a shirt from the White Stripes 1999 tour for the occasion. And you are listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. Okay, and next article we have is 2 new movies to capture charm of Village. East Aurora will once again be in the national spotlight as Hollywood returns to film 2 new movies in our fair village. Rumors yet to be confirmed are circulating that a Hollywood production crew is busy constructing props modeled after 96-gallon trash totes in an effort to capture East Aurora's unique charm. Reports are the movie, to be produced by Schmalz Time Pictures, involves a trash truck driver who accidentally drops an engagement ring into one of the large totes and discovers he cannot propose to a girl he met at her driveway when she asked, "Is this recycling week?" As their weekly meetings went on with playful banter, with the driver saying, You turn that toad around or I won't pick you up. Their relationship grew. He was about to propose when he found he had accidentally lost the ring. That leads him to confess his intentions, and they go on a bin by bin search for the lost ring among the thousands that adorn the village neighborhoods. The movie source wouldn't give away the ending, however, it involves a girl in a tote being lifted while the title song Love Lifts Us Up plays at a mock backyard bash. The second production is tentatively titled Dillbreaker, a pickleball romance. In a telephone interview from his home in Santa Royal, California, screenwriter Alan Smithy told the Agonizer that he began writing the script for Dillbreaker when he was in town for last summer's filming of a different movie. I was employed by the makeup department sponging the actors' foreheads, he said, when I took the job. I thought, oh man, sweat sponging actors for a Christmas movie in Buffalo? What's easier than that? But man, was I wrong, it was so hot. Smithy was then asked if maybe he could just get to the point of the telephone call. Oh, right, sure, he said. Anywho, I was on a ladder sponging Abraham Ben Ruby, who played Santa Claus. The dude is 6'7", and so I was on a ladder, and he was perspiraling like the fountain at Caesar's Palace. And the location manager is screaming at people on Main Street to shut up, and the heat is beating down, and for the love of all that is holy, please get back to this movie, Smithy begged. Okay, he said. I passed out, kerplunk, heat exhaustion, right there in front of Vidler's. When I came to in the hospital, all I had was a pen, a notebook, and a copy of the Agonizer. I read it cover to cover, and the one thing I came away was that East Aurora loves its pickleball and hates it too. Smithy said the script was written in the course of a half hour, but that it took him 3 days to get the Chat GPT prompt just right. I had to keep looking up pickleball facts to feed into the program, he said, adding that the facts were also retrieved ironically through Chat GPT. The movie will star Hallmark favorites Lacey Chabert and Tyler Hines as, respectively, a pickleball champion and a cranky widower whose peace and quiet is disturbed by a national pickleball tournament that descends on Hamlin Park. Also slated to appear are Buffalo natives William Fichtner, Wendy Malick, David Boreanaz, and Christine Baranski. It's fortuitous that all of Buffalo's famous Hollywood actors are of, that age, he said, before lowering his voice to a whisper, that pickleball age. Okay, next we have clearance under bridges to be raised 6 inches. It was announced today that the new majority of the East Aurora Village Board plans to increase the clearance of all 4 railroad viaducts by 6 inches. Given the fact that large trucks get stuck in the underpass, we determined that the paint job done previously didn't help, Mayor-elect Luke Wojcicki said. We considered asking the railroad to install a lift bridge, but it was determined that it would likely cause numerous Facebook users to post wild, substantiated rumors about undocumented construction workers, a joint statement from the unnamed source said. The work is expected to route traffic to the south side of the bridge while the north side is being raised. Then the process is reversed to keep car and truck traffic moving. Okay. And also we have condominiums planned for Village Roundabout. The East Aurora Village Board met for 5 minutes while in line at Taste Thursday morning to approve a proposal for a 4-unit condominium complex to be built in the traffic circle in front of McDonald's. Each 6-story unit will comprise 600 square feet with underground parking. Residents took to social media to complain about the lack of transparency. They met at a blank coffee shop, said an angry resident. One board member who requested anonymity said the board couldn't have been more transparent. "We're at blank coffee shop," he said. "Groundbreaking is expected to take place as soon as everyone forgets this happened." And then we have high schools take to curling. Following its popularity during the 2026 Winter Olympics in Milan, local school districts are adding curling as a winter sport. To date, East Aurora, Holland, Iroquois, and other school districts in southern Erie County have merged to form a single team. To make it easier, the sport will be overseen by the Ormsby School on Center Road in East Aurora because the trade school takes students from all of the surrounding districts. The team will practice 5 days a week. In addition to curling, the team will also work on nails, perms, eyebrow waxing, and skincare. However, curling will take center stage. I mean, of course, my favorite thing to do is curl, an athlete said. "If you have thick, long hair, I will use a 2-inch barrel with a clamp to get the desired look. But for finer hair, I use a 1-inch barrel or even a tapered rod." Some of the athletes are old-fashioned and prefer rollers. "They are making a comeback," Coach Mal Pitchell said, "especially if you want that bouncy pre-9/11 look. It was all the rage in Milano Cortino." And our final article for today, Great Erie Federal Credit Union offers scholarships. The Great Erie Federal Credit Union and its partner Banzai is providing students the opportunity to apply for one of two $2,500 scholarships called the Banzai Life Literacy Scholarship. The Banzai Life Literacy Scholarship is designed for students passionate about learning to manage money wisely and make sound financial choices. From budgeting basics to understanding credit, the Banzai Life Literacy Scholarship aims to encourage students to become financially literate by practicing ways to navigate real-life money situations confidently. In partnership with Banzai, this scholarship promotes financial literacy and independence for students ready to master money management. Applicants must be residents of the United States who are at least 16 years of age. They must plan to enroll full or part-time at an accredited college, university, or trade vocational technical school in the United States by the 2030 to 31 academic year, and they must have played through at least 2 Banzai games and submit proof. To play through 2 Banzai games, teachers will need to create a free account on banzai.org, and in their application, students will submit their name, username, and their teacher's email. Instructions can be found on the website at greateriefcu.com. The deadline to submit an application directly to Banzai is April 28th. Email questions to support@banzai.org. And you have been listening to a reading of articles and features from the East Aurora Advertiser. We read from the East Aurora Advertiser every Saturday at 10, and your reader has been Karen. Thank you very much for listening, and hope you have a great day and take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Coming up next on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, we have a reading of the Niagara Gazette. At noon, we have the Dunkirk Observer. And at 1 o'clock, we have some of our Northtown Bees, including Amherst, Clarence, Cheektowaga, Lancaster, and Depew. Stay with us for these readings and more throughout the day. You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. As of this year, our agency has broadcast more than 300,000 hours of radio readings. Volunteer radio readers read newspapers, magazines, and books to area people who are blind or have a print disability, who are provided reading radios. Radio Reading's broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. Radio Reading broadcasts from studios at 1199 Harlem Road in suburban Buffalo. Please let others know about Radio Reading. It's your service. For more information on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, call 716-821-5555. The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading, holding a book, or turning a page difficult or impossible. The content is copyrighted by the respective publishers. For more information, please visit us on the web at nfradioreading.org.
Hello, this is Ken Kominski, and for the next hour, I'll be reading from current issues of the Niagara Gazette of the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. By dawn's early light, Christians gather at sunrise on Easter for Spiritual Reawakening by Rick Pfeiffer. Despite the 43-degree temperature and a stiff wind, Reverend Lisa Elkington of Bacon Memorial Presbyterian Church was joyful on Sunday morning, looking at a group of just over 24 worshipers huddled together against the cold in the LaSalle Waterfront Park gazebo at 7.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or have another print disability, which makes reading,